Hey now, my peeps. It has been, I think it's been 2 weeks since I put up a video, and in part that, well, not in part, I mean, the reason is because I have been on a circuitous food journey over the past couple of weeks. I've really had to step back and evaluate what I'm eating and why, how I'm feeling, what my patterns seem to be, because I've been in this rut for a long time, this bounce around 270, and I know some of it's probably physiological, some of it's probably mental, some of it is probably mechanical in that I'm needing to adjust how much food I eat, the sort of foods, blah, blah, blah. But I've really needed a timeout to kind of look at it and try to figure out how I'm going to attack this problem now. Let me predicate this video on saying the starting this raw food experiment with Cynthia. Man, this has been one of the most important things I've done in the past year since I started this weight loss. And I'm going to let my dog out. Hang on just a sec. If I pause this video a bunch of times, it's because Bolt's barking is getting out of hand and I have to adjust with him. Anyhow, come here, buddy. It has been very important because it's been, I don't think I've focused so hard on nutrition and eating as I have in the past 2 months. And speaking of which, I need to take a sip of my smoothie. This morning's smoothie is spinach, blackberries from the farm up the street, some flax, some almond milk, and some whey protein, which of course is not vegan nor vegetarian, and I'll get to that in a minute. But so anyway, I've really been focusing, and I've noticed a number of things. So I've got several balls in the air that I'm having to juggle about trying to figure out why I'm not moving forward. One of the balls that I have in the air is this whole seeming plateau place that I'm at, where I'm just not getting down out of the 160s, and I keep bouncing up into the low 170s, sometimes high 170s. So that's been something I've been looking at. The other thing is my, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, I know we're not supposed to use the word failure, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's appropriate. My failure cycle, like, you know, how many days I seem to be able to eat in whatever fashion I'm trying to eat, whether it's vegan or paleo or whatever. And then when I fall off of that, how long I'm off, when I come back. So there's like this cycle it's really apparent, especially, and don't do this because it'll bore the crap out of you, but if you go back to last year and you start watching my videos about about my weight loss, you'll see this pattern too. So what the pattern is, it's this. When I was eating more or less, well, it wasn't really paleo because I was eating pasta and potatoes and rice, but when I was eating vegetables and lean meat, essentially, I would do okay until an event, like, you know, Christmas or vacation, something like that, a party, and then I would fall off. Since I've started, but I lost weight on a fairly regular basis, about 8 pounds a month, 8 to 10 pounds a month. Okay. Since I've started the plant-based foods 8 weeks ago, that pattern has changed. And this is what it looks like now. I will resolve myself to eat plant-based only, with all the goodies I'm supposed to. I go 3 to 5 days or so, and I have this sort of bottoming out where I start to crave, just crave food particularly processed food. It's not so much sugar cravings as it is, I want the nibbly dibbly snicky snack stuff, or I want a hamburger, or I want, you know, a bag of potato chips, something like that. I start craving that sort of thing. And I also have this feeling, let's see if I can explain this. It's a hunger that I feel in my arms. I don't know how to explain this, but it's like my, and it's not my legs, it's just my arms. It's like my arms start to feel weak or something. It's hard to explain. And when that hunger happens, it's over. Whatever starchy garbage is in front of me, I'm gonna start, I'll pound it for like a day or two. Then I'll get kind of sick, headachy, stomach, feel bloaty. I might have a gout attack, something like that, or inflammation. And then I'm like, oh shit, what am I doing? And then I sort of stop eating for about a day. Then I jump back on the plant-based, and the whole thing happens over again. I have managed to knock off somewhere around 12 pounds, 11 or 12 pounds, from the time I started the plant-based thing 2 months ago to today. It has been a very rocky road with a lot of recidivist behavior where the scale will go back up. All right, so after looking at all of those things, what I've decided is that, well, I haven't decided, this is what I'm exploring. I think, number one, I'm not eating enough of the right kind of food. By right, I mean a variety. I know that eating vegetarian or vegan can supply you with all the nutrients that you need. I know that. I know that I wasn't eating the right kind of thing often enough. That's what I think was going on. So before I delve back into that and be, you know, far more attentive to making sure I'm getting my plant proteins like I know I need, I'm going to take 2 weeks and I'm going to go back to my lean meat and vegetables, primarily lean meat and vegetables, with an eye towards upping my protein intake. Not ridiculous like Atkins, but to where I continue to feel strong. I've been doing this now for, it's been about 4 days or so, and here's the immediate thing that's happened to me. I've gone 4 days, I haven't had any craving, I feel strong, and I have a lot of energy. Now, and I'm eating eggs, whey protein, chicken, and beef. Those are the animal proteins I've been eating. Not tons of them, but I try to get my protein intake to somewhere around between 60 and 90 grams if I am out working, like lifting rocks and doing heavy yard work, which I have been doing a lot of lately. I try to make sure my protein level is up. If I'm having a down day, well, you know, then, you know, some whey protein or a couple eggs, and that's all I feel like I need, in addition to the plant proteins that I'm getting. So, in other words, I'm trying to be mindful, I'm trying to be present, and I'm trying to be responsive to what is going on with my body. So, I'm going to do this for a couple of weeks, then retrospectively look back and say, okay, well, this is what's happened in the past couple of weeks. And then I want to start to dial out, well, beef is the first thing I'm going to want to dial out. The next thing I'll want to dial out is chicken. And see if I can feel as good as I feel today when I'm just doing like the whey protein and the eggs and maybe some some wheat gluten protein as well, which I'm going to start making myself. I'm not gluten intolerant. I tolerate gluten just fine, so I may do some of that occasionally during the week. And just try to dial this in. I'm going to bring lentils back into my diet. I have not had a gout flare in a while, so I'm going to experiment with bringing that in. If you have gout, you're not supposed to eat lentils. If you have gout, you're not supposed to eat spinach. Blah, who knows? I mean, really, who knows? So I'm going to start experimenting with bringing those things back in, like I have today, because I've got spinach in my smoothie. And just, you know, just kind of stay with it and report back. As I've said many times, I'm not a vegan. I am an omnivore. However, I want to speak to that just a little bit. While I am an omnivore, I think I have big problems with industry farming and ranching. I think, as we all pretty much know now, those conditions are atrocious. And it's been occurring to me that if you say you're an omnivore, you're saying that you think it's okay to kill and eat animals, right? But here's the little caveat in there. You are saying that it is okay for you to kill and eat animals. I'm wondering how many omnivores kill and eat their own food. I mean, out in the world. I mean, in the Western world, in the United States. Let's keep it in the United States. Not a whole lot of us. I think there are regionally, killing and eating your food is more or less popular. Deer hunting, people who live on farms and keep chickens and rabbits and you know, steers and pigs and whatever for food, and they actually do their own slaughtering and butchering and so forth. But those people are a real small minority, I would venture to say, in the universe of American omnivores. Here's what my mind is working on right now about all of that. If you can't kill it and eat it, if somebody else has to kill it for you because you cannot stomach the killing and dressing and butchering and consuming of that animal, then I don't think you can call yourself an omnivore. Not really. You're certainly not an active omnivore. You're a passive omnivore. And if you were picked up and put in a survival situation where there was no grocery store and you had to figure out how to stay alive and there wasn't a lot of plant matter around, would you be able to kill and eat that rabbit or that gopher or that ground squirrel or that grub or that spider or that turtle or that lizard? You know, would you be able to do that? If you are able to do that, then you are truly an omnivore. If not, then you're still in that gray area that so many of us Americans are, where we think that eggs come from the grocery store and milk comes out of a carton and, you know, hamburger arrives. It's never been anything other than ground beef. And of course I'm being hyperbolic here. I'm sure lots and lots of people struggle with this, the way I'm struggling with it. Have I killed and eaten animals? Not mammals. I have fished and eaten the fish that I catch. I raise hens and I go and I get their eggs and then I eat their eggs. I feel fine with that. I have never killed a deer, dressed it out, butchered it, and turned it into food. I've never done that. I personally have never killed a goat. Or, like I said, any other mammal. So, I'm still kind of struggling with that whole labeling of vegan, omnivore, vegetarian, ovo, lacto, pesco, whatever. And let me also say this. I shy away from labels. I don't like to jump on bandwagons. I'm not easily proselytized. I think my way through my decisions for my life, or at least I try to, with as much as my little pea brain can work these things out. I try to work this stuff out on my own, for myself, based on my own belief system. And then, as a result of that, I try to tread very lightly when it comes to other people's belief systems. For example, vegans. While I don't identify as a vegan, I attempt to tread lightly with vegans. I don't share, memes that are like, the PETA meme that went around, people for the eating of tasty animals, and think that's funny. That kind of stuff. It causes other people distress, and I try not to cause other people distress, which doesn't mean that I don't. That doesn't mean that sometimes I'll do something unconsciously, and then I'll be like, oh, wow. That wasn't very thoughtful of me. That wasn't very sensitive of me. But my intent is to be thoughtful and sensitive. So, that's where I'm at. And I just needed to check in and let you guys know how I'm feeling and what's going on and what I want to do for the next couple of weeks. And I will keep you informed. All of this is still percolating in my mind, so, we'll see where it all ends up. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and you are all doing well and happy in your lives, and I will talk to you later. Bye!